Has this ever happened to you? You have an amazing first date. The conversation flows, there are sparks, you leave feeling optimistic, maybe even a little giddy. They say they'll be in touch, and then, crickets. Or maybe it's a flurry of texts for a day or two, followed by radio silence. Or perhaps you're caught in a cycle of sporadic replies, late-night messages, and an overall feeling that you're constantly chasing their attention. If any of this sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Clarity Chronicles Podcast. I'm your host Yvonne, and after our first episode of When the Spark is One-Sided, where we laid the groundwork for understanding the core principles in today's dating world, we're diving into one of the most perplexing and anxiety-inducing aspects of early romance, communication. Or, more accurately, inconsistent communication. In today's digital age, communication is constant, yet somehow, understanding someone's level of interest through their communication patterns can feel like trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics. We have a multitude of ways to connect, such as texting, calling, social media DMs, even voice notes. But this abundance of options can also create a breeding ground for mixed signals and leave us desperately trying to interpret the meaning behind every delayed response or lack thereof. So, in this episode, Communication Breakdown, Decoding Inconsistent Contact, we're going to dissect the different levels and styles of communication we encounter in early dating and what they truly signify. We'll explore the crucial difference between someone who is genuinely busy and someone who simply isn't prioritizing you. And we'll navigate the nuanced world of texting, calling, and social media interaction to help you cut through the confusion and gain a clearer understanding of where you stand. Let's start by acknowledging that everyone has different communication styles. Some people are naturally more verbose and communicative, while others are more reserved. Some prefer texting, while others prefer phone calls. However, when it comes to expressing romantic interest, there are certain fundamental patterns of communication that tend to emerge when someone is genuinely excited about you. These patterns are generally consistent, proactive, and show a clear desire to connect and build a connection. The red flag we're focusing on today is inconsistency. That roller coaster of intense communication followed by days of silence. The late night you up, texts that lack any real substance during daylight hours. The promises to call that never materialize. These inconsistent patterns often indicate a lack of consistent interest. When someone is truly invested, their desire to connect with you won't be dictated by fleeting moments of boredom or convenience. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, genuine busyness. We all have demanding lives, work, family, friends, hobbies. It's perfectly reasonable for someone to be genuinely occupied at times and unable to respond immediately. The key here is to distinguish between temporary periods of being busy and a consistent pattern of delayed or minimal communication. Someone who is truly interested in you will typically communicate their situation if they know they'll be unavailable for an extended period. A simple "Hey, things are crazy busy at work today, but I'll reach out later," shows consideration and maintains the connection. The difference lies in prioritization. When someone is genuinely excited about getting to know you, you will be a priority in their thoughts, even if they can't respond instantly. They will find pockets of time to reach out. They will follow through on plans. They won't leave you hanging for days without explanation, wondering where you stand. Their busyness won't feel like a constant barrier to building a connection. Let's break down the nuances of different communication methods, starting with texting. Texting in early dating can be a minefield of misinterpretations. A delayed response can trigger anxiety, while a flurry of emojis might be misconstrued as deeper interest than is actually there. Pay attention to the consistency and intentionality of the texts. Are they initiating conversations, or are you always the one reaching out first? Are their responses thoughtful and engaging, or are they short, non-committal, and purely logistical? A person who is genuinely interested will likely ask you questions about yourself, share aspects of their own life, and use texting as a way to build rapport beyond just making plans, if they even get to that stage consistently. Always be wary of the low-effort text. The "Hey, the late night, what are you up to?" or the sporadic, "thinking of you," without any follow-up. These can often be signs of someone keeping you on the back burner, providing just enough crumbs of attention to keep you interested without any real intention of building something meaningful. In today's text-heavy world, a phone call can sometimes feel like a significant step. Someone who takes the time to call you likely wants to have a more personal and engaging conversation. However, the absence of calls doesn't automatically signify disinterest, especially if both parties have established a texting-heavy communication style. The key is whether any form of communication feels consistent and intentional. If you're always initiating calls and they rarely reciprocate, that's a pattern worth noting. Similarly, very short, infrequent calls that lack any real substance might also be a red flag. Let's now talk about social media interaction. Liking your posts, reacting to your stories, and even sending the occasional DM can be a form of engagement. However, it's crucial to differentiate between passive social media interaction and genuine interest in building a real-world connection. Someone who consistently likes your photos but rarely initiates a direct message or suggests meeting up might just be a casual follower, not a potential partner. Don't mistake social media breadcrumbs for genuine romantic interest. Real interest translates into direct, personal communication and a desire to spend time with you offline. It's also important to consider the context of the communication. Are they only reaching out when they're bored, lonely, or have nothing else to do? Do their messages often come late at night? Do they disappear for days or weeks at a time without explanation and then resurface as if nothing happened? These patterns suggest that you might be a convenient option rather than a genuine priority. One of the most challenging aspects of inconsistent communication is the emotional toll it takes. It can lead to anxiety, overthinking, and a constant need for reassurance. You might find yourself constantly checking your phone, analyzing every message, or lack thereof, and feeling a knot of uncertainty in your stomach. This emotional roller coaster is a significant indicator that the communication dynamic is unhealthy and likely reflects a lack of consistent interest on the other person's part. A healthy, budding connection should generally bring you more feelings of excitement and anticipation than anxiety and confusion. So, how do you navigate this confusing terrain? Here are a few key takeaways. Look for consistency. Consistent communication, in whatever form it takes for both of you, is a strong indicator of genuine interest. Pay attention to initiation. Is it a two-way street? Are they initiating contact as often as you are? Assess the effort. Are their messages thoughtful and engaging, showing a genuine interest in getting to know you? Consider the context. When are they reaching out, and what is the nature of their communication? Trust your gut. If you consistently feel anxious or confused by their communication patterns, your intuition is likely picking up on something. Communicate your needs carefully. While you shouldn't have to constantly chase someone, expressing your communication preferences early on can be helpful. A simple "I tend to communicate more regularly, just so you know," can set expectations. However, if your expressed needs are consistently ignored, that's a clear sign. Ultimately, decoding inconsistent contact isn't about becoming a dating detective or trying to force someone to communicate in a way that feels unnatural to them. It's about recognizing patterns that consistently leave you feeling confused, undervalued, and emotionally drained. It's about understanding that while life gets busy, genuine interest usually finds a way to communicate consistently and respectfully. Remember, your peace of mind matters. You deserve to be with someone whose communication style makes you feel secure and connected, not someone whose inconsistent contact leaves you constantly questioning their interest and your own worth. Recognizing and acknowledging inconsistent communication for what it often is, a lack of consistent interest. It is also the first step towards freeing yourself up for someone who communicates clearly and makes you feel like a priority. That brings us to the end of this episode on communication breakdown. I hope this has shed some light on this often frustrating aspect of modern dating. Now, I want to hear about your experiences. What are some of the most confusing or frustrating examples of inconsistent communication you've encountered while dating? How did it make you feel, and how did you ultimately interpret it? Share your stories and insights in the comments section below. Your experiences can be incredibly valuable to others navigating similar situations. If you found this episode helpful in decoding those perplexing communication patterns, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Clarity Chronicles podcast for more insights into navigating the world of dating with clarity and confidence. In our next episode, we'll be diving into another crucial aspect of early dating, the art of avoidance and what it truly means when making plans becomes a constant struggle. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, clear and consistent communication is a cornerstone of a healthy connection. Don't settle for breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole loaf.